Hey, welcome to the Empowered Coach podcast. I'm your host, Richard Dale. Today on the show, I have Chrissy from Noble Fitness joining me. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi. Hello.
So good to have you on. So let's get straight into it, find out a bit about Chrissy. Yeah, we'd love to know a bit about your business and what it is that you do.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I will go back to like when I started, I guess. So I've been a coach for about 11 years now, doing in person since then. I've actually just started doing online, probably, well, say just since January. So I do mainly fat loss. I do have a couple of guys that do the muscle as well because I've done bodybuilding competitions myself. But predominantly I work with fat loss. And I work on a lifestyle base. So making sure that it's sustainable, kind of, no restrictive diets. You're not going to be doing hours and hours of cardio, that sort of thing. I do like my lifting. So, resistance training's quite in there as well. But yeah, it's good.
Nice,
I've been
nice.
doing it for that long. I must enjoy it.
So how long have you been like a PT? You made a bit of transition this year. When did you get qualified and start your PT journey?
So I've been a PT now for, I think it must be about 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I don't look old enough. Yeah, so I got into it through doing the bodybuilding competitions. So I've always been quite active. So all of my jobs have been very active. I used to work with animals before I worked in the gym. So I've always been active. And then got interested in doing the bodybuilding shows. And that obviously got me more into doing the gym, more into the nutrition side. I never actually had a coach myself. I coached myself through it, which I found obviously great because I was doing my qualifications, learning all about the nutrition, as well as then putting myself through the bodybuilding kind of, diets and training and stuff like that. So I learned a lot through that journey. I also learned how actually unhealthy that was as well.
Mm.
So any kind of extreme sport, as we know, it's really unhealthy in the grand scheme of things. I enjoyed them, loved doing them, but ultimately they really were not good for my health. In fact, after my last show, which was 6 years ago now, after the show, my body fat percentage had gone that low that I stopped having periods for, I don't think they came back for like 10 months. So that
Wow.
kind of tells you how your body's just
Yeah.
like, no, I'm out. I think I went down, my stage weight for my last show was just over 7 stone. So to put that into perspective, I'm 10.5 stone now, and, probably the healthiest I've ever
Mm.
been at this point. So when people obviously when I'm coaching people, I try to steer them away from looking at scale weight. Obviously, it's a good tool to have to, keep track of, but I don't let it be the be all and end all, because what you weigh doesn't necessarily mean that you are healthy.
Yeah.
And it's not good to be constantly obsessed about it. It stresses you
What
out.
has your ethos changed over the years from when you were competing to now?
I feel like, see, with the competing as well. So I was never one of these people that I don't track my food. And it kind of blows people's minds when I say that even when I competed, I didn't track my food. I just went off how I felt. I'm quite good at knowing my own body. And because I was obviously learning through obviously the PT and the nutrition and all that sort of stuff, I was very interested in all of that. So I knew if I manipulated my carbs a little bit, manipulated my water, obviously keep my protein high, then I'm quite good at knowing. And it's kind of, because I do get my clients to track food. So it's a little bit hypocritical of me to say I don't get my clients too. But ultimately, I want it to be a lifestyle and that people don't have to track. And so if I can get somebody to a point where they don't have to track anymore, then that's the win, isn't it? Because you don't want to
Yeah.
be. I've seen people through the competitions, weighing out 1 grain of rice being over, or there's some really random stories that I could say about people like chewing a biscuit but then spitting it out, and it's just what, all right, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I think my ethos is still the same. It's still kind of, I want it to be a lifestyle, and also enjoying it. That's really important to me. So whether it's the training side, the diet side, I think if you're not enjoying it, then don't do it. Like, you find something else, because there's so many things that you can find that you will then
Mm,
enjoy. So that's really important. And I feel like that's always been important to me. The only reason I stopped the competitions was because of, like, it stopped my periods, and you are Mardy, and it is a little bit miserable when it gets to the nitty-gritty end. Loved being on stage, but that extreme that it does to your body kind of was like, I need to give
yeah.
it a bit of a break.
Yeah, and I see it with PTs how it can affect their business too,
Mhm.
because it's like running a business can be super stressful, and like when you completely like your body and mind is just like you
Yeah.
don't have the energy, I think it can negatively impact
Mhm.
your business and your whole life. But I think, like you say, it's the extremes of any sport. There's going to be periods where there's like it takes over, but then
Yeah.
periods when it doesn't. Yeah, it does blow my mind a little bit about the calorie tracking, but I completely agree that that's the end goal, right? Isn't it? It's about education, and people don't want to track for the rest of their life. It's like teaching them, oh, there's this many calories in this. And actually, if I have a bowl of granola, that's not great for me, you know?
Yeah.
That was one of the things when I first started tracking. I was like, oh my God, how has this granola got like 600 calories in it?
Yeah, yeah. That's it, because obviously a lot of people they don't realize the different balances, the different macros, the calories and all of that sort of stuff, but also the importance of protein. And that most people, when they come to me, I can almost guarantee that their protein is too low without looking
Mm,
at anything. I just know, you just know, because that's generally 90% of the time people just aren't hitting their protein, because you
yeah,
see all these, and marketing as well. So you see all these protein products, and it's like protein bread. And you think, okay, so maybe there's 1 gram more than a normal loaf of bread, but still, 120 grams of carbs.
yeah.
Because it says protein on it, it's healthy. It's not.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day. It was just like, does protein really want to be in all of these things? It's like
Mm,
everything in the supermarket now, but it's just a marketing tactic, isn't it?
yeah,
And it was the same with like low fat products, 10, 15 years ago. Now it's everything's got protein, and like you say, like, but the balance isn't necessarily right. It might have a ton of sugar in, but yeah, it's just to sell the product. What's the kind of clients that you really like to work with? Have you got like an ideal person or an ideal goal, or what sort of problems do people struggle with when they come to you?
yeah. So this is where I struggle with niching. I love working with people that want to work, which I guess is everybody. My ideal client is somebody that wants to put in the work, wants to make the changes, and isn't scared to do something out the box. The way I train is maybe a little bit, I train really hard, and my training programs, they're not easy. Obviously, they're tailored to everybody and their abilities, but also I'm going to push you. So it's really hard when I'm talking about ideal client, because as long as they want to change their lifestyle, then I want to work with them. So yeah, I don't know if that really answers the question very well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a psychographic of a person that's like
Mhm.
driven and motivated and really wants to change, rather than like
Yeah.
a demographic of men in their 40s. So
Yeah. But also I will be there to support you along it as well. So I always encourage my clients, if they're struggling or anything like that, then come to me. Like, don't sit and struggle. And obviously we do weekly check-ins. Don't wait for the check-in if you're struggling. Like, come to me first, and then maybe we can tackle it and, put some things in place so that actually when it comes to check-ins, that struggle's already gone. So yeah, support is really important. And I have a group community as well. So they're all in there, everyone supports each other, everyone's on the journey. And I always say to people, if you're struggling with something, the odds are somebody else has either been through it or is going through it as well. So a lot of people can give different insights, different advice to help with what it is.
nice.
We all struggle. It's not, everyone
Yeah,
struggles.
absolutely, absolutely. I think niching is one of the hardest things. Like when you move online.
Yes.
What have been like some of your big learning curves from this year, from making that transition from in-person PT to online? Because it is like a completely
Yeah.
different thing. Like the product's different, how you market yourself different. So what have you been your biggest learnings?
Okay. So one is that I'm now a content creator.
Yeah,
Having to obviously the online, I mean, I'm not a nervous person. I'm quite, how to talk to people and stuff like that. But filming myself was really just weird. Poor one of the PTs at the gym, Damo, bless him, he did a lot of like filming me, and I'd just be like, what am I saying? What am I doing? So yeah, having to be a content creator, but also I never did sales. So training in the gym, and obviously working in the gym, training in the gym, I would get clients just through talking to people in the gym, and then it would be more people would refer. But then moving into actually having to do calls and, sales calls, I just, they, like, I struggle with them a lot, or like still, but yeah, so that was probably the hardest thing as well. Yeah. And it's just
Yeah.
because, and people, I mean, I'm a little bit crazy. So people kind of see that in the gym, and maybe they like that. And I don't know, I have a lot of clients that have gym anxiety. And I felt that in person, having me with them in person kind of made that a lot easier, because I'm a bit nuts. So it was like, oh, she's, fine. But then obviously trying to relay that when I'm not there, like I'm there online, I can see your programs and stuff like that, but I'm not physically with you. That was a bit of a transition as well.
Yeah, I think it doesn't suit everyone. I think in all honesty, like there's people that need someone there, but it suits a lot of people that just need some structure and some accountability. Totally relate to what you say about like videoing yourself. I remember when I first got started on social media, I couldn't film myself for so long. I was just terrified. I was just scared of judgment and what people were going to think of me. And like, even without posting, just trying to record a video, it was just such a challenge. But it's like anything. It's like when you practice and you keep doing it and you do the things that scare you, it just gets easier over time.
Well, now I've done
Go on.
I've done a couple where, in like the supermarkets,
Yeah.
in the supermarket, and I've done a few of them, and now it's like, that's fine.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And yeah, they were like the hardest ones, I think, when you're at home and it's that wanting it to be perfect as well, which kind of took a while to get over. But now when I'm at home, you see on my Instagram, there's some random things. But yeah, and then the actual doing it in public was another step.
Yeah, that's a really brave step as well. I love that. Doing it in a supermarket, yeah, that feels like quite edgy. So yeah, I love that. Once you've done that there, it's like, yeah, anything's easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, perfectionism is a big one for coaches as well, because it's that whole, it has to be perfect before I put it out, otherwise people won't like it. And like there's the fear of rejection, like when we're speaking to people, and these are all like super innate within all of us, but they really show up within online coaching and when you move on to the online space, which is why like some people never get past that first step because they're like, oh, it feels so uncomfortable. I want to go back to what I'm comfortable with. Would you like want to take things with your career next? Are you still doing a bit of in person? Is like a hybrid setup work, or do you want to be fully online? And what's the goal for you?
I am actually now fully online.
Nice.
So the end of August, I went fully online. So last month was my first month not being in the gym, which was weird because I had so much time.
What do I do?
Time. Like, for instance, on a Monday, so I would normally go to the gym for sessions in the morning, then have to do some gym hours, come home, walk the dog, quickly have some food, then go to the gym, do more sessions, do more gym hours. Now is what I do. I film content. So yeah, that was, but yeah, so now I am fully
nice.
And I did it. I did the leap.
Yeah, well, amazing that you did the leap. Yeah, PTs is such a hard job. And I think like a lot of the reason people don't stay in PT jobs for a long time is because you don't have a social life. You're up early, you go to bed late, you have that big gap in the middle of the day where you're trying to jam everything in. And you might only have 4 or 5 sessions in the day, but it feels like you work 12 hours because they've all been spread out. And when I was in the gym, we're going back like 10 years, I think there's one person left from that team that I was in that are still in the industry because of that. And actually, I think that one person is mostly online now. So I do think it creates a better lifestyle, and a more scalable um, opportunity for coaches as well.
Absolutely,
And it's
because
not.
it's 50 hours in the day as well. So if you're having to go to the gym and do sessions, and
Mm,
also you either have to pay the gym rent, or I was lucky because I had to pay them back in hours, which I found worked better for me. Still, having to use those hours and session hours, you don't really have time to do anything else. And some days I didn't even have time to train myself, which was crazy because I was in the gym like 12 hours and then I couldn't even train myself. But it was, by the time I'd finished, I was too knackered
yeah.
to train anyway. But yeah, so it is a lot better with the online. And I never actually thought that I would go fully online. I was really reluctant to even start the online stuff because I am not very good with computers. I am going to say hands down, I am really terrible with technology. So one of my friends who's a coach, she uses the same app that I now use. And so because she used it, I then just went, right, okay, I'll use that as well. Because then if I had any questions, I could ask her. I think I had the app for, I think it was almost a year without any clients, just so that I could get used to it.
Yeah.
And it honestly took me that long. But now it's so simple, but it's just that new territory, getting used to something that's completely different. And especially with technology, like most things I'll, have a go at, whatever. But computers, like, see, people say that you should have iPhone if you're doing a lot of work online at home. I have a Samsung because I've always had a Samsung, and I don't think I could change because it just blows my mind. I can't even think about it.
How funny. Did you say it's Everfit that you use?
I use Trainerize.
Trainerize, yeah, I use Trainerize. There's a pretty steep learning curve. Like when you first get in, it's like programs, workouts, like building phases and all this
Yeah.
jazz, but it's a learning curve that you have to go through. And so many coaches are like, "Oh, let me try this app over here. Let me try." Like, they never set on an app, but they all, like from my experience, they all do the same thing as long as your client's happy and you can deliver what you
Mhm.
want to deliver through it. It's just like stick with one.
Well, it's the same like we'd say to our clients if they're jumping from
Mm,
different diets and stuff like that. You've got to
100%.
give it time for it to work.
Yeah, 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 and that goes for tactics as well. With like online coaching, there's so many ads and like should be using this funnel and you should be doing this strategy. And it's like, yeah, coaches, we can get stuck in the same trap of like, oh, I'm going to try Facebook prospecting, or I'm going to try, LinkedIn. It's like they just
Mhm.
need, like, they all work. You just need to commit and really dial in and optimize one strategy that actually suits you and works well for you. If you could kind of go back in time to like maybe the beginning of the year with some of the things that you've learned over the past 9 months, you could like try and condense your growth and be like, right, Chrissy, this is what you need to do in January. This is going to get you to where you need to be like in the next 3 months. Is there any advice that you would give yourself?
Um, I think the whole not worrying about being perfect, because that wasted a lot of time, having to have the light right, or I couldn't be wearing, if I wasn't wearing the right thing, or, stuff like that. So taking away that having to be perfect and just get it out there. And also saying, like, be true to yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing, other coaches are doing. Do what you believe is right. And yeah, so be true to yourself and don't worry about it being perfect.
Yeah.
I think they were probably the main things.
Yeah. Well, the person that often gets in the way of our success is us, isn't it? It's like
Mm.
we get stuck in our head. But I think it's so easy with social media just to get stuck in those comparisons and like
Yes.
what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And we have to like keep checking ourselves. Even this morning when I left the gym, I was like, "Oh, I want to feel some content, but maybe like I need a new better camera." It's like, no, like
Yeah.
I remember buying the mic, buying the tripod, and like years ago, and not doing anything with it because I was like, oh, I just need this, and this before I
Yeah.
get started. But now I know, like when those thoughts come in, it's like, no, there's perfectionist Rich showing up again. Like
Yeah.
iPhone
That's
quality is absolutely fine.
yeah. Yeah, because I do suffer with the imposter syndrome as well. And sometimes I'll, see, I don't know, coaches doing things or and thinking, oh, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Or I get, really down, maybe like, oh, I'm really rubbish. Like I'm rubbish at this job and I can't do it. And then I have to think, well, I've been doing it for 11 years. So maybe I'm not that bad. I'm doing something right. But it's your mind. It can get dark sometimes. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's trying to pull yourself back out of those moments. which can be difficult.
Yeah.
And obviously, with clients and stuff like that, you're navigating through their pain. And you have to check yourself as well, 'cause sometimes you just forget about yourself.
Yeah, massively. I think just having that level of awareness really helps of like understanding, well, it's okay to have those thoughts because they're completely natural and everyone has that little devil on their shoulder that's always
Mhm.
like, no, you should be doing this, should be doing that. But then having that awareness to bring yourself back and like, no, this is what I need to be doing. Like, stop following those shiny objects, stop
Mm.
comparing myself to X, Y, Z. There's always going to be people ahead of you. Doesn't matter what level you get to, there's always going to be someone else that you kind of think, oh, I should be doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think there's
But what
a
I,
sorry.
yeah, go on, Chrissy.
No,
No,
I was
no,
going to
you
say
go.
there's a part of comparison which is good. So if you're comparing yourself to, like, I want to get to where they are, or how well they've done, and then you work for it. But then obviously there's the flip side where it can get you down and make you feel like you're not good enough. So there's always, I would always, if say if I was following somebody on Instagram and it was that constant making like myself feel bad for whatever reason, if it did, then I'd just unfollow them, take that away. But yeah, it's not comparison. What is it when you're kind of looking up to somebody, or I don't know, I forget words a lot as well.
As like a role model.
Kind of like a role model, I guess, yeah? Where you like you aspire to be like somebody.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a good place to be. But yeah, I think it's just trying to, like you say, build those healthy practices and just like take care of yourself a bit more because it can be a pretty hostile place. What
Mm.
with social media and like how you try and present yourself, is there any like stuff that you really kind of stand against when it comes to the fitness industry? Is there stuff like you hate and you're like, no, that is not the way, and like this is the way?
I'm very much there isn't one glove that fits all. So you have your keto and that sort of thing. I'm not like against things like that because I know that it does work for certain people. Like at the minute, it's massive, the jabs, the weight
Yeah,
loss
the
jab.
Wegovy jabs. Yeah,
Yeah. So at the start, I was very much, no, hate them, like really bad. You're just being lazy and this sort of thing. And I actually went to like a seminar and the guy was talking a lot about them and he kind of changed the way I thought about them. Obviously, there are people that go on them because they want a quick fix and that sort of thing, which I 100% do not agree with. But there are also people where it is more of an illness, and then he was saying like, well, they don't have the ability to know when they're full. So like I would have a meal and say, oh, I'm full, that's enough, and start. Whereas they don't have that trigger, so they can constantly eat and not have that trigger to feel full, which is what the jab mimics. So it kind of changed my perspective on them, and I'm quite open-minded, and like I say, as long as you're using it how it's supposed to be used and it isn't just a quick fix because you can't be bothered to eat well, you can't be bothered to train, then I think they can be used, with healthy lifestyle. But it's the education around it as well. So going on to like the jabs and stuff, I don't think that there's enough education that comes with them, that people don't understand. Yes, you're going to lose weight, but you're not going to just lose fat. You're going to lose muscle, you're going to lose water, you're going to lose fat as well. But it also can impact your bone density. You can't, unless you're going to be on them for your life, which is going to then bring other issues. When you come off them, because you've lost your muscle, your calorie deficit is going to be a lot lower. So then to be able to sustain your weight loss, do you know how that's affected? And a lot of the time they don't, because they just get prescribed it and off you go. They don't have the education around it, which I think is a big gap in the market. And
Mm.
it's really dangerous for people's health as well, because there are so many things that come with it as well. So I guess the lack of education is something that I don't stand with, rather than
Yeah,
a particular thing, because I know that things work for other people and there isn't one way to do something. Does that make sense?
yeah,
I feel like I
yeah.
rambled a little bit then.
No, it's all valid points, and yeah, I agree. I think my issue with it is how like it's fashionable, and like people
Mm.
they just want it because it's the next thing. And you're right, there's a percentage of people that don't have the hormone balance correct, or like they do need it, but it's probably a very, very small percentage. And most are like, I just want to lose weight. So this is the best thing to do it because X, Y, that influencer said so. I think
Yeah.
that's where it becomes really dangerous.
And the trouble with that as well is they've just tripled the price on them, haven't they?
Have they? I haven't seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
obviously if you're not entitled to get it on the NHS, which obviously most people aren't because they are just, want it for a quick fix or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So unless it's diabetes or I think you have to have 2 chronic illnesses to be able to have them on the NHS, I think.
Wow.
So if you don't, obviously, if you're not in that bracket, then you pay for it yourself, which was fine, but they've just tripled the cost of it.
That's mad.
So now people are like, I can't afford it, and kind of kicking off at the NHS. And they're like, well, it's not our fault. But obviously they've been on it for however long, and then now they're having to stop, and they haven't fixed the root problem.
Yeah.
So, like I say, if they feel like they need to be on it, okay, fine. But you also have to fix the issue. So why are you overeating? Why do you feel like you can't, control your habits? Why aren't you moving your body more? Unless you fix those problems, as soon as you come off the medication, well, they're just going to be waiting for you because it's not a cure. So, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, it's a broken system. And even the doctors, they're not trained in nutrition. Like they don't necessarily understand either, but they're in a really hard position where they're just like, okay, I'm going to prescribe this medication. But yeah, most of the time it will be a plaster, and then, like you say, they'll come off, and then the weight will come back.
Yeah, and that's where it's the fat loss versus weight loss situation as well. And why I tell my clients if my clients get stressed out about the scale, then I tell them not to weigh themselves every week. We do it monthly, only so then I can see kind of where they're at as another tool, but to focus on, do you feel fitter? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel healthier? Are you sleeping better? All these things which are a lot more value than how much do you weigh? Because like I said, weight loss, it can be muscle that you've lost, it can be water that you've lost. Whereas fat loss, which is where you want to be, but then you could have gained muscle. You can hold more water. Obviously, it's a little bit harder when it comes to women because hormones are a lot more nuts.
Yeah, all over the show. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll bring it to a close because I feel like we could talk for an hour. But
Yeah.
if someone wants to reach out and is maybe interested in finding out more about working with you, where's the best place for them to contact you?
So I am on Instagram, so it's at Noble Fitness Coach. You find me there. I think Facebook's the same as well. I generally only use those 2 because tech. So Instagram's probably the best one to get me on, to be fair.
Nice. Okay, I'll drop your links in the comments below, and thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.